pleasing personality, very knowledgeable person. Had learned, heard him at so many platforms, and he's very knowledgeable, very clear in his communication. And we are very hopeful that today we are going to learn something very important about the social audit with his representation, with his presentation. Sorry, sorry, and of course it's very encouraging that for practicing cost accountants and for others also the new areas of working are emerging. With every day we are listening that so and so activities has been introduced, and that is a very encouraging for our profession as well. And with these words, because already uh, I think 10 minutes are over, so I will hand over mic to Yogesh Gupta ji to to start his
Thank you, Tara sir, for
presentation.
your yes, sir. Please. Thank you, Tara sir, for your encouraging words and nice words. And I think when topic is very interesting and speaker is a great personality, so definitely the participant automatic joins. And we can see in this working day evening, the more than 130 people have, approx 130 people have already joined. So I think, sir, the Yogesh sir is one of the, you are one of the reason, your presence is one of the reason. So thank you so much for, for being given your consent as a speaker in this burning topic of social audit. And before I hand over to you, sir, although I understand that there is no requirement to, I don't find any reason to introduce or to give any description about you, but still, I just would like to share a brief introduction of Yogesh sir. The introduction is here. Mr. Yogesh Gupta is commerce graduate from Delhi University, a fellow member of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, and a fellow member of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India. He is a practicing as a cost accountant and as a registered insolvency professional. He has an experience of more than 33 years in the corporate sector in senior management positions such as Director Finance and CFO, handling finance, accounts, secretarial, excise and custom, import and export, MIS, costing, insurance, etc. He has been a regular guest faculty.
Manish, your voice is going.
Presently, he is also the founder director of Vyas Advisors Private Limited, a company engaged in the field of debt funding, private equity, taxation, secretarial and corporate law advisory services, and also practicing as a cost accountant. Sir, it's a great pleasure. In fact, I think what I say, I'm short of words after giving your introduction. And you definitely, you are a role model for many youngsters, many professionals. So we are excited to hear you now. So floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Manishi, for a very wide introduction of myself, and thanks for that, for giving me an opportunity to share my views and my understanding, my knowledge about this new topic, that is social audit, and how the CMS can act as a social auditor. So it is again one more new area which has been opened up for the cost accountants. So far, we have a lot of areas like, of course, the cost audit has been our main practicing area. But apart from that, we have been practicing as a GST consultant or as a tax consultant or as a, there are so many requirements under the FEMA or the Companies Act or other, lot of other opportunities are there. So, but this activity which has been recognized now by the SEBI, and this I think will become a requirement, because since we are a very developing nation, so in a developing nation, you know that we ourselves are fighting for our livelihood. But now I think we have reached a stage where we need to focus on areas which is applicable to the society, which shall, whatever we are doing today a day will come that we have to give it back to the society. So with that idea, the social audit has come into the picture. So that is, I mean, when I came to know about the social audit, I was just wondering that what it is actually. Today, in this today's seminar, what we are going to learn is that what is social audit, what is the purpose of social audit, who can be a social auditor, how the funding of social audits will happen, social stock exchanges will be there, what is a social enterprise, what is a non-profit social enterprise and a profit social enterprise. We will be going through all these definitions and terminologies to understand the basics of the social audit and its relevant concerned areas. So I will be sharing my PPT for this. Is it visible?
We can see it, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, it's
Thank you.
visible.
Thank you. So, as I said, that social audit is a new opportunities for the CMAs, because once we go through the slides, we will come to know that we are authorized to be a social auditor. So being a CMA or a CS and being a chartered accountant also, all the three professionals are required to pass an examination. We will deal with those slides also, that how the examinations will be conducted for becoming a social auditor, what is the subject, what is the, how do we appear, how, I mean, what is the type of examination, what is the syllabus for this, what is the marking for this. All these things we are going to discuss in today's seminar. So let us first understand that what is social audit and why it is required, how it has evolved over a period of time. An organization's performance in relation to society so when an organization, like we are doing a lot of CSR activities now, so what is the performance, what is the basis of the performance of an organization? It is not related to its core area of making money. It is one more area which is to be looked into, that how and what they are doing for the society. What is my business responsibility towards the society? Okay, so I'm like in many companies, you might have seen in big companies that they are undertaking a lot of social activities for the upliftment for the poor, or providing sanitation facilities or the water facilities or something like that. So these people are keep on, even before the concept of the CR came into the picture, where it has become mandatory for the companies to spend certain amount under the CSR requirements. Before that also, a lot of companies were into these kind of philanthropic um, giving it back to the society. So philosophy concept of a social audit is coming out of this, because once you are doing all these activities, whether this is only on paper or you are doing something actually for the benefit of the society. So for that purpose, to check into that, the concept of the social audit is coming up. The philosophy of giving back to the society, as I said, that everything is basically dependent upon the philosophy of giving back to the society. Today, I'm having an experience of more than 35 years. I'm in a position to share my experience. As a newcomer, I keep on learning, and after a certain period of time, you can also become a lecturer or giving some other kind of a um, something like for the benefit of the society, for like even for tree plantation is also part of the giving back to the society, or meeting certain people, like during the COVID, a lot of people were giving food and shelter and other type of benefits to the people, underprivileged people. So the idea is that how we can give it back to the society, how it can be measured through the social audit, what are the norms for that, that everything is coming part of the evolution of the social audit. So with sharp focus on the social impact of the business, standards, frameworks and guidance on social auditing have become essential requirements. Okay, so earlier there was no requirement of a social auditing for any company, whatever activity they were doing. Like under the CSR, they have to give certain disclosures or the requirement, but there was no social audit. Now, as per the SEBI requirement, it has become mandatory for certain class of companies. We will be looking into that part, that how it has become and under which regulations it has become mandatory. So monitoring, measuring and reporting the social performance of enterprises have emerged as a regulatory requirement. So when you are doing some social activity, then we have to measure, we have to monitor those activities by measuring them and reporting that social performance of that enterprise, that what they have carried out. That is going to be a regulatory requirement now. It was earlier not mandatory, but it is going to be a mandatory regulatory requirement. Development of sustainability reporting standards like Global Reporting Initiative, ISO 26000, guidance on social responsibility, principle of responsible investing, sustainability accounting standards board have contributed significantly towards the understanding of the social responsibility. So there, I mean, this kind of social audit is going on across the world. Although, I mean, it has not taken up too much, but still, we are being lucky enough that in a country like ours, we have been able to implement this social audit much sooner than the other developed nations. India is a signatory of global initiatives like the Sustainable Development Goals adopted by the United Nations in 2015. So India is a signatory of global initiatives like the SDGs, in short, we call it that. SDGs are basically the kind of things which we can cover up under the social activities, which are for the benefit of the society at large. So we will be going through those. There are 16 SDGs. We will be going through that in our next few slides. This was signed in 15, and the target is that we should be able to achieve these goals by the year 2030. So these global initiatives address universal social developmental issues and call to action to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that by 2030, all people enjoy peace and prosperity. So today's seminar will be basically about the awareness about the social audit, as well as from the angle of appearing for the examination to become a social auditor. So I will be covering up certain part that which can be asked as a question during the examinations. Like there has been a question that when India became the signatory to the SDGs, that was in 2015, and 2030 is basically the target date for achieving these SDGs. In India, the concept of monitoring and evaluation of social development activities and performance audit of flagship social development programs has been active for national social development initiatives like National Rural Health Mission, Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. These are all these activities of social development programs. Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, that is Manrega. Everybody knows that this has been a very successful program from the government. It is packed as, this was launched in 2006. So it is packed as one of the most ambitious anti-poverty program, because poverty is the first and foremost goal under these SDGs. So it is packed as the most ambitious anti-poverty program, which guarantees 100 days of unskilled manual labor for adult members in rural households. The Gram Sabha is expected to monitor the Manrega and conduct social audits of all Manrega projects implemented in the Gram Panchayat. So before this social audit came into the picture, there was a social audit which was, basically the monitoring of this was a Manrega, which was given to the Gram Sabha itself, because within the Gram Panchayat, the distribution of minimum wages to the people were given, and this monitoring this, whether this benefit of rupees 100 rupees per day or something like that has been going directly to the account of the people.
इसमें एक ये कंपनी का नाम है एल्सनर टेक्नोलॉजीज, मैंने पूछा था
Mr. Shraddha Saxena ji, kindly mute yourself.
NER.
So how it has become mandatory? Let's read that part. That companies corporate social responsibility policy amendment rules 2020.
ठीक है, ये कंपनी का नाम है। और
Mr. Saxena, Mr. Shraddha Saxena,
तो अच्छा दिख रहा है यार, ये पिक्चर है इसमें।
Mr. Saxena, can you hear us?
हाँ हाँ, तो वही होगी। और क्या, तुम तो शॉपिफाई बता रहे हो कोई? हाँ,
Mr. Saxena, can you hear us?
May I request the coordinator to call him on his mobile number. It may be received from the institute portal.
अब जब उसका अगर उसमें तुमने वो उसमें नाम अगर आ रहा है एल्सनर का, वही कंपनी से आया है। शॉपिफाई वगैरह के लिए काम करते होंगे यार, ये सब क्लाइंट होंगे इनके।
आप अपने एंड से सबको म्यूट कर दो सर।
तो वो देखो, उसने वो तुम्हारा इंटरव्यू ले रही थी, तब तक उसका फोन आ गया उसको मेरे पास, उसको भेज दो।
एडमिन कैन म्यूट ऑल।
Mute. Admin, please try to
बहुत
mute
अच्छी कंपनी
him.
दिख रही है यार।
Is there any admin there?
एडमिन जी प्लीज म्यूट ऑल।
निकल जाओ यार, ये तुम्हारा इसके पास 16 कंट्रीज के प्रोजेक्ट हैं। और इसके बहुत से जो यहाँ काम करते हैं वो सब डिफरेंट कंट्रीज में बैठते हैं जा करके, जो मतलब ऑन साइट प्रोजेक्ट होता है, कहीं कोई कनाडा का है, कहीं कोई बैठा हुआ है। समझ रहे हो? पुणे का नहीं है यार, अहमदाबाद का है। कहाँ पुणे में?
Anybody from the institute?
ठीक है, यही एड्रेस है इसका जो दिया हुआ है इसमें।
I think no one is there from institute
इसी
side.
पे जाना है तुमको। 305
Anyway, let us continue. I don't think that he will be able to stop himself because I think he is not listening to us.
अहमदाबाद में सैटेलाइट एरिया है,
going on his own. So
It is creating a lot of disturbance. But it is creating a lot of disturbance. We are unable to listen your voice.
That is why I stopped it. But I don't know. He is not able to hear us.
तो ये अब जरा सा विकास से बात करो तुम।
NIRC team, please respond. NIRC.
विकास कंपनी बहुत अच्छी है एल्सन टेक्नोलॉजीज। ठीक है, अब तुम इसको ये पूछना जो तुम्हारी वही है उसकी बिटिया की ये
What institute people are doing?
It is not there.
सैटेलाइट एरिया है, घर से कितना दूर है?
Hello. Please disconnect, unmute, sorry, muted Mr. CMS Sardana ji.
NIRC, can you hear us? The host is NIRC and they are not active in the meeting.
He's getting muted now.
I think it's stopped now. So let us continue with my presentation. Sorry for the disturbance. So the company's corporate social responsibility policy amendment rules 2020 has laid out certain rules about the CSR policy, In the said rules in Rule 8 after sub-rule 2, the following sub-rule is inserted, namely, just a second, let me talk to the NIRC. Hello? Actually, koi NIRC wale ko now NIRC is there, they will be able to mute somebody in case somebody is there.
Sir,
Anyway,
please do it on full screen. The presentation.
what are you requesting?
I'm requesting that please do it on full screen.
Okay.
So it will be more visible.
Press F5, sir. Please press F5, sir. तो F5 दबा दीजिए, उससे हो जाएगा। F5 दबा दीजिए, F5।
F5 से हो नहीं रहा actually.
तो सर वो नीचे आइकन आ रहा होगा ना, ये वाला।
Now it is there. Is it okay now?
Yes. Yes, sir. It's okay now. Yes.
Yes, it's okay.
Okay, so in this rule, what has been written is that a company having the obligation of spending average CSR amount of rupees 5 crore or more in the 3 preceding financial years in pursuance of subsection 5 of section 135 of the Act, which is relating to the CSR, shall undertake impact assessment for their CSR projects or programs and shall disclose details of the same in its annual report on CSR. So any company having an expenditure of more than 5 crores in the preceding 3 financial years as per the CSR requirement, it is now mandatory for them to undertake impact assessment for their CSR projects, and such impact AIR, it is normally considered as a AIR, that is impact report, which is to be disclosed in the annual report on CSR. So this is a mandatory requirement which has come in 2020. With the forthcoming launch of the stock exchange, social stock exchange, we will discuss about what is a social stock exchange. Social audit has matured with the well-defined deliverables. For the first time, the development of social audit standards by ICAI, that is the Chartered Accountant Institute, has defined the required social audit procedures for 16 thematic areas of social development. Which are these 16 thematic areas of social development? We will discuss those also. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India as well as the Institute of Company Secretaries of India has already come out with the social audit standards, and our institute is also under that process. So all these audits, I mean the expenditure which we are incurring under the social programs, it will be as per the social audit standards, and the audit and the company is also required to maintain the records as per these social audit standards, and the audit which is going to be conducted will be as per these standards. Now, what is a social audit? A social audit is a formal review of a company's endeavors, procedures, and code of conduct regarding social responsibility and the company's impact on society. Now we will be, emphasizing more on about what you mean by the impact. We will discuss this part also. A social audit is an assessment of how well the company is achieving its goals or benchmarks for social responsibility. Okay, so globally it is known as people's audit or public audit, and in India we are calling it as a social audit. Now, when you are doing any social activity, there are 3-4 things which happens. You put something into that activity that is considered as input, right? So when you spend some money, you buy something, you put that raw material, like in a manufacturing company, you buy some raw material. Similarly, for conducting an activity, any social activity, you put certain inputs into the system. And by putting those inputs into the system, you get certain output. Output basically means, suppose you are helping a group of handicraft people. So you provide them stitching machines or the clothes or threads or something. Then what is the output? Output maybe like your salwar suits or the shirts or some other textile items. That is your output. Then there is another concept which is known as outcome. What do you mean by the outcome? Can anybody tell me the difference between the output and outcome?
Output is quantifiable and outcome is the result, which cannot be quantified. It is only what we call qualitative.
Absolutely right. So this is a quantifiable and one is not quantifiable. So outcome is basically the result that those group of people have earned something and has been able to generate funds for themselves to upgrade their life and something. And the last word is impact. What do you mean by the impact? So impact is a much more broader word. Like this impact is on the society as a whole. Now that group of people has got something, and this is helping the entire society at large. So it helps the entire population of that village or the district if this is being implemented in the district. So this is the different, these are the different stages of a social activity. When you put something, you get certain output that affects those particular people, and the life of those particular people will have the society as a whole. Who is social auditor? So this is one of the basic question for which we are here, that how we can be part of this process. We can be part of this process as a social auditor. Now, SEBI defines a social auditor as an individual registered with a self-regulatory organization under the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India or such other agency as may be specified by the board. Okay. Now, it is being written as a chartered accountant, but in fact, the Institute of Cost Accountants of India as well as the Institute of Company Secretaries of India, they have already opened their agency, which is known as SRO. Okay, those SROs has been formed, and with which, I mean, like in an IPA or registered valuer examination, we are getting ourselves registered with those RVOs or the IPAs. Similarly, these SROs will be there for registration purpose of social auditors. So, and it has already taken place. The ICMI has already had SRO, and Mr. S.K. Gupta, who is the earlier looking after the IPA and RVO, he's also been given additional charge to look after into the social auditor also. Now, for becoming a social auditor, first is that individual has to be registered, but this registration will happen only when you pass an examination. Now, what is that examination? Like under the RVO, registered valuers examination, or the insolvency professionals examination, this examination is also being conducted by the NISMO. Okay. National Institute of Securities Market, which is governed by the SEBI, and they have a very good standard of examination. So far as the insolvency professional examination or the registered valuers examination, it has become quite a task now to pass those examinations. Right now, whosoever is passing this social auditor examination, it has been quite easy for the time being. So my request to all these participants members, that if they want to become a social auditor, it is better that they take a date within the March itself, because after March it is expected that it will become a little bit more tougher. So far, this has not been so tough. I am going to appear coming Sunday. I have also studied a lot about this examination, but not much. So as of now, about 8 to 10 to 12 hours of study is quite enough to appear for this examination. Last, you can utilize your experience and knowledge to pass this examination.
Sir, I have two questions. Can I ask?
Yeah.
Since you were at this topic, so I just thought if I can ask you.
Yes, please.
So this exam is, I suppose, online?
It is online, but not at home. It will be at a particular center.
That's why actually that was my supplementary question, because I just came to know that, I mean, I was trying to research and I came to know that it's online, but I was not sure whether it is at a center or from home.
Your voice is a little bit breaking actually.
I'm saying that I was trying to, I mean, that was my supplementary question, whether that it is from home or from center, because I was not able to conclusively understand whether it is from a center or from a home.
No, it will be at a particular center. There are a lot of centers provided in every city of the country. Like in Delhi, you have 2 centers. In other nearby areas also, you have 1 center or 2 centers. In most of the cities, there is a center.
And
so you go to the NISMA website, you register yourself. Then if you want to appear, once you get there, then there will be a list of the centers that will be there.
Okay. And if there is any sort of restriction on the number of attempts, I mean, suppose if one
so far there is no restriction. Like under the IPs, for the insolvency professional or for the registered valuer, now it has been restricted because you can't appear more than once in 2 months. Now there is no restriction as such for the social auditor as of now.
Thank you so much.
Sir, what is the eligibility criteria? Is
We
there
will be
any
coming
experience
to,
criteria?
we will be coming to that. There is a particular slide for that.
Okay.
So social audit firm, because this audit cannot be done by an individual. It has to be a firm like a cost accountant or a chartered accountant or a company secretary. We form either a proprietorship firm or a partnership firm. Similarly, for the social audit also, you need to have a firm. So social audit firm means any entity which has employed social auditors and has a track record of minimum 3 years for conducting social impact assessment. Now, this minimum 3 years for conducting social impact assessment, I don't know how this is going to be actually carried out, because if it is a new thing, then how will you be having this type of a record of conducting social impact assessment? So I think in the initially they might have indicated here, but whosoever is forming a social audit firm, they will be able to conduct the social audits. Now somebody was asking about the eligibility criteria. Here is the eligibility criteria. Financial auditors can qualify to be social auditors. A financial auditor means any auditors can qualify to be social auditors after they have successfully completed a course at the NISM, that is National Institute of Securities Market, and received a certificate of completion. So like I said, that it is a online examination of 2 hours. We'll be discussing in detail about the examination. What is the exam? What are the syllabus? What is the weightage of those syllabus? Everything we will discuss about that later on.
So do you have to go mandatory training also for this?
So far, there is no mandatory requirement, but it will be there. In the time to come, there will be a requirement. Like for the RVO or for the IPA, we have a mandatory requirement of training. Right now, it is not there, but I think in the time to come, because this is a new concept, and these institutes are also gearing up to form the training part or the other things. So everybody is in the process now.
I think our institute has also planned for 20 hours program. And
that is not mandatory as of now, but this 20 hours program is to facilitate you to appear for the examination.
Okay, and it will involve only the loaders, SEBI's loader regulations.
Yeah, LODR regulations are also part of the syllabus.
It's only part of the
syllabus. That is
syllabus.
only about 5 to 10% marks.
Okay.
We will discuss in detail about the syllabus. So, who are eligible to appear for the examination? Postgraduates with a minimum of 3 years of experience, graduates with 6 years of experience, all three professionals with 6 years of experience, complete this examination of NISM, and then get ourselves empaneled with the SRO, that is special social auditors of organization of the Institute of Social Auditors of India, formed as a separate sustainability directorate under the aegis of ICI. Now, first of all, we must understand that what is the objective of this examination. Unless you understand the objective, you will not be able to understand the syllabus and the study pattern. Now, what is the expectation from the social auditors? Now, examination objectives: on successful completion of the examination, the candidate should know the basics of the social auditing. Right? Once you pass the examination, you will come to know that what are the basic requirements of the social auditing. So there is a booklet also which has been provided by the NISM, National Institute of SEBI, which has been given. And this is, once you register yourself, then this book will be made available. Otherwise also it is circulated in the various groups. And if somebody requires it, one may contact me also. I will provide that soft copy of the book. So right now, most of the examination questions are coming from that book. And if one is going through that once or twice, then I think that is more than sufficient for the time being to pass that examination. In future, it might become more exhaustive, more tough, and it might become more difficult to pass that examination. For the time being, it is quite easy. So we have to understand the social auditing basics, the code of conduct of the social auditor, what they should do, what they should not do. Understand the general concepts related to the social stock exchange, social audit, and social impact assessment. So these are the three terms which we are going to discuss: that what is the social stock exchange, what is the social audit, and what is the social impact assessment, what is the social impact and how it is assessed. And then know the social impact reporting disclosures and regulations. So as per the LODR requirements, what are the disclosure requirements, what are the penalties, etc., that is going to be there.
Excuse me, sir. One question.
Yeah.
Sir, in the last slide where eligible criteria was given, it was written that, professionals with the experience of 6 years in development sector. So how do you define the development sector?
This is again a little bit of, because we have not heard any degree so far in the development sector.
Right.
So when I discussed with our institute, they said this has been mentioned, but they are not looking into that particular sector, that what do you mean by the development sector. So it has not been defined so far, and nobody is objecting I mean, if you are having any degree, that is valid for this purpose.
Okay. So as far as you have, a professional qualification with 6 years of experience, that will do. As of now.
That will do. That will do. Huh.
Okay. Thank you.
So this development sector as of now has got no relevance.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
One more question, sir, if you can kindly. Sir, can working professionals, working cost accountants can get registered as social auditors?
No, it has, since practicing is allowed by a person who is not in employment. So of course this will also be there, that it will be allowed only to those people who are not in employment.
Okay, sir. Okay, because it was not specifically written anywhere, so that was my query, sir.
Although it is not written, even I am not very sure, but it goes by the normal principles that a person who is in employment cannot be practicing as such also.
But I write the exam for the social auditor?
I think one can easily appear as far as like for the insolvency professional also, for the registered valuer also, you can appear for the examination. But if you want to practice as a social auditor, then you have to leave the job.
Thank you so much.
When you say 6 years experience for the professionals, is it after passing the examination or the practicing cost accountants or chartered accountants?
No, after passing your professional qualification.
Okay.
I mean, from the day you become a member of the institute.
But Yogesh, the graduates and postgraduates won't have, or they won't be in practice, right?
No, but if
they
are in some employment, they have to come into the practice. They have to leave the employment.
Yeah, but RV, IP, that is different because is it on the same grounds like IP and RV?
I think so. It is on the same grounds. Like along with this, our own practice as a CMA, we can practice as an IP, we can practice as an RV. Similarly, we can also practice as a social audit.
Okay, and that employee does not mean as an employee in the social enterprise, right?
No, it doesn't make that.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So the examination will have 100 questions. Okay. Out of those 100 questions, 85 questions will be MCQs, direct MCQs, whatever we are going to, study today in this webinar, or from the book which has been given specifically for this purpose. And then there will be 3 case studies on the basis of which you will be given certain para. Out of those, they will be giving certain 5 questions from each case study, carrying about total 15 marks. So for 1 mark question will be there 100 questions of each, 1 mark each will be there. And there will be a negative marking, that is 0.25% for each wrong answer. So multiple choice questions will be there, and case-based question, 3 case studies, 5 questions of 1 mark each in each case study. Any question on this?
It's okay, sir. Thank you.
So this site address is given www.nism.ac.in. One can log into this, register themselves, whatever the details they are asking for, you can submit that online. Nothing is to be sent by physical mode. Everything is to be done online, and you can then, once you are registered with them, you can pay the fees, that is 1500 rupees plus GST, and you can appear n number of times. In fact, you can appear 3 times in a day also, because this examination conducted by NISM happens 3 times in a day. I think 10 to 12, then 12 to 2, and 2 to 4. So n number of times. As of now, the house is open for appearing n number of times, and you can pass the examination. If you are not able to pass the examination in 1 slot, you can take another slot to pass this examination.
The fees will have to be paid every time you appear for
every time, sir, every time. Okay. So let me brief you about the syllabus. This is the weightages which has been given here. And these are the chapters names. So in all, there are 11 chapters in that set book. Introduction to Social Sector and Indian Financial Markets. So there are 8 marks from this category. So as per this, I mean, they have already specified that which chapter will be having so many questions. Like so therefore, from chapter 1, there will be 8 questions. Then from chapter 2, that is Introduction to Trading, Clearing, Settlement and Risk Management. Then there are 4 questions from this. Like in normal stock exchange working, the same type of some sort of working will be there under the social stock exchange also, although the volume is going to be very less, because this is a very different kind of product which is going to be listed on this social stock exchange. How it is going to function, what is social stock exchange, what is going to be listed, that we will discuss a little bit later. Coming to the social audit, I mean, the introduction to social stock exchange, 10 marks. Registration and listing requirements on social stock exchange, 5 marks. Social audit and social auditors will be 12 marks. Social audit techniques and standards, about 13 marks. Social impact assessments will be 15 marks. And then there will be case studies, 3 case studies on impact assessment. The case studies will be like, you will be given certain paragraph, out of which they will be giving you, say about 2, 3, 4 statements, out of which you have to say that whether it is correct or not correct, or 1 and 3 is correct, or 2 and 4 is correct, or all are correct, something like that. Then disclosure norms, reporting requirements by social auditors and penalties. Like there are penalties for non-disclosure. I mean, as per the disclosure, something are required to be done 60 days, then 90 days, annual disclosures. And for non-disclosures, there are penalties of from 1 lakh rupees to 1 crore rupees. Taxation is 4 marks. Under the taxation, like all the social enterprises have to be registered under section 12AA, that is for tax benefit purposes. And then key regulations, that is the LODR and all, we have to see from there. LODR will be there in almost everywhere, not a particular place. So LODR will be covering about 10 to 15% marks. The more important, you can see this chapter number 5, 6, 7, which comprises of about 40 marks. And if you add social stock exchange, it will be 50 marks. And if you read case studies, nothing but most of the case studies will be on chapter 7. So 60 plus 15, 75 marks will be from chapter number 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And if you add another 10, then it is going to be 100. I think if you add all these, it is going to be more than 100. I didn't realize that. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 88.
So it will be 100 only.
It is 100 only.
You calculated 75 rather than the 65, sir.
Oh, right. So it is 100 only. Okay. So this is the overall syllabus outline and the weightages, that is the number of marks associated with those chapters. Somebody given a question on the chat that there is a booklet given by the NISM itself. I think that is more than sufficient. One should not read other books if that is available. I don't know whether it is available or not, but I think this book is more than enough. I think there is a one book also given by the taxman, but somebody was saying that it is not available. But there is a booklet on by taxman also. But I think this taxman is to the point with the same type of chapter name, so one should not go here and there. Now, features of social audit. What do you mean by this social audit, and what are the features? So the purpose of social audit is, we have seen that it is to look into whether it has served the purpose of the activities taken up by the social enterprises. So we have to see from the features point of view that it looks at the impact caused on the society by the organization. So an organization which is carrying out a activity, it is known as interventions as per the booklet, as per the terminologies used in the book. It is known as interventions. Any interventions basically means the programs. So these interventions or the programs conducted by the government or by the social enterprises or by somebody else, the impact caused by those programs on the society, this is the purpose of looking into that. Then takes an outside in approach of looking at the organization. What do you mean by outside in? Dealing more with how the non-financial stakeholders view the business rather than how the managers, owners of the organization plan it to be. So when you are assessing the impact, you are not looking into the books of account of the company. We have to go beyond that. So we have to go to the people who have been benefited from such program. Go to them, ask them how they have got benefited, interview them. You can quantify them also, that what benefit you have derived in terms of monetary benefits or some other benefits. So that is why it is said that it is outside in. That means the outside people will be able to give you more inputs about the impact assessments. Deals with the study of the social impact parameters, most of which can be gathered from outside the organization which is being audited. This we have already told in the previous para. Involves the stakeholders of the enterprise and adopts a triple bottom line approach. So what do you mean by the triple bottom line approach? So these basically consist of three things: people, I'm forgetting these three things. Yeah, Nietzsche, it is given in the downward: profit, people, and the planet. So when a financial audit, we look at only at profit. So there could be a question on triple bottom line. What do you mean by triple bottom line? So triple means three factors, that is profit, people, and the planet. So we are looking at the profit also, but that is not the primary objective. Then we have to look at the impact on the people and the planet as a whole. Profit is related to the company only. People means a little bit for whom that program has been carried out. And the planet means how it has impacted the country or the district or the state, like that.
So does it mean the profit, when you say profit, if there is profit only, then CSR activity is required then? If there is no profit, then CSR requirement will not be there. So that is why this profit is important, is it?
No, sir. You see, we are talking about social audit as of now. We are not talking about CSR activity. CSR activity is part of the social activities which is being conducted and which is subject to social audit. So CSR is different. That is being done by a profit-making company only. But social audit is done of two types of companies. One is NPOs, that is not for profit organizations, and the other is for profit social enterprises, FPSE, for profit social enterprises. So there are two types of social enterprises. One is not for profit and one is for profit. Both are covered under the social audit. उसकी कुछ conditions हैं, minimum criteria हैं, then they will be covered under this, otherwise they will be out of this.
Thank you, sir.
So we discussed about the features and the objectives. Now we can discuss about the objectives. It is done to assess the physical and financial gaps between needs and resources available for local developments. So when you are doing any social activity, you obviously need funds for that. So we have to understand that this much of fund is required, whether this much of fund is available or not, what is the gap between that, and how that gap can be filled up. It is used to create awareness amongst beneficiaries and providers of local social and productive services. So there are two types of people into this. One is the person who is giving these services, and the other side is the receiver of those services. So this is the purpose of social audit, is to make awareness for both the stakeholders. There are many other stakeholders, but basically primarily there are these two stakeholders. So to create the awareness among these beneficiaries, we should do the social audit. Estimation of the chance cost for stakeholders of not getting timely access to the public services. So the cost, how much it is going to cost to the stakeholders, that is again subject to the social, because once you do the social audit, then you will come to know that whether it is this cost which we are estimating is correct or not. It increases the efficiency and effectiveness of local development programs. You see, whenever you are doing some exercise, unless there is some umbrella there to cover you up, to keep an eye over you, then it is going to be much more useful as compared to a person or a program which has been left open, that you do whatever you want to do it. I don't care about the money spent on this. So in that case, it will not be so much useful. So if you have a proper planning for that, this social audit is going to help you out in that, from that angle. It scrutinizes assorted policy decisions, keeping seeable stakeholders' interests and priorities, particularly of the rural poor. So it is going to scrutinize about the policy decision taken by us, keeping seeable stakeholders' interest, that what is the interest of that stakeholder. Stakeholder could be both sides, right? And priorities, particularly of the rural poor, because of the target is basically the rural poor, not these urban people. Social audit, why it is required? Like, each business enterprise is not only connected with the internal public, but intimately connected with the external public also. What is the difference between internal public and external public? See, internal public, we mean to say that the employees or the shareholders or the buyers or suppliers directly concerned with the company for which the company has been formed. But in this case, social audit case, we have to deal with the external public also, because we are extending our social activities to the external public. It is not limited to the company's people only. So each business enterprise is not only connected with the internal public, but also connected with the external public. And that is why the social audit is required. The modern corporations are more powerful and command huge resources. This power should not be used indifferently, irresponsibly, or in an anti-social way. Its activities that can create much impact on the society. अभी पीछे एक अमिताभ बच्चन की एक मूवी आई थी, आई डोंट रिमेम्बर द नेम ऑफ दैट मूवी, जहां पे कि उसने जब वो कंपनी से निकला अपना, ही वाज अ रिटायर्ड पर्सन, और जब वो कहीं पे जाता तो उसको रास्ते में बच्चे खेलते हुए नजर आते थे. वो किसी चीज से खेल रहे हैं, कभी किसी चीज से खेल रहे हैं, और कुछ बच्चे उसके अंदर वो ड्रग्स वगैरह में घुसे हुए हैं, कोई बीड़ी पी रहा है, कोई सिगरेट पी रहा है, कोई दारू पी रहा है, कुछ भी कर रहा है. So they engage themselves in anti-social activity because they do not have any particular objective. So these kind of social activities help the people to engage themselves into a meaningful activity, so that these people can be channelized for the benefit of themselves as well as for the nation. As such, its impact over the society cannot be ignored or taken lightly. Its behavior is not only affects the society, but also creates problems to the government, and thus social audit has become the need of the day. So if you do not spend that money properly for the purpose for which it has been started, like there are many companies under the CSR activity, I should not tell all these things here, but there are many people who do not use the money properly as per the requirement. So that is why this social audit is required, and therefore social audit will be able to monitor the utilization of funds for that particular activity for which it has been assigned. The social audit framework developed by ICA provides a social auditor guidance for conducting a social audit. That is social standards. List of social audit standards. These are standards. This is nothing different whether it is done by ICSI, ICI or Cost Accounting Institute. The base is same because it has been signed in 2015. The paper which has been signed in 2015 also have these 16 thematic areas only, which has been named as a social audit standards. So SAS 100 to SAS 1600, there are 16 social audit standards, and there are 16 activities in which all these activities are covered under one or the other social audit standards. Like in the first one, the first and foremost emphasis has been given on eradicating hunger, poverty, malnutrition, and inequality. तो सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी क्या है कि कोई भी आदमी भूखा नहीं रहे. Everybody gets sufficient food so that he is not under malnutrition. Poverty is to be improved. There should not be any poverty. गरीब हटाओ. ये सारे जितने भी अभियान अभी तक चलाए गवर्नमेंट ने, to some extent they have been successful. Like during the COVID period, the government has provided free rations, and even till now, because there are still a lot of people who have not been able to come out of the COVID situation. They have lost their jobs, they have lost their businesses. So the government is still continuing with those things. This SAS 200 is promoting healthcare, including mental health and sanitation. So once you remove the first requirement, that is bhook, pyas, उसके बाद then it comes to the health. कि पहले तो भूख मिटाओ, उसके बाद उसको कुछ हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, बीमार रहता है, उसकी हेल्थ के इश्यूज देखो, फिर उसको एजुकेशन भी दो कि भाई पेट से भूख से कम हो गया, उसको हेल्थ मिल गई. Now education is next step, because you can go step by step only. If you start with education without removing the hungerness or the health, then how will you teach them? So this is basically a stepwise listing of these activities so that each activity will have its own importance and the priority levels. I think one slide is missing somewhere, 4 or 5. Then it is protection of national heritage, art and culture, training to promote rural sports, national recognized sports, supporting incubators of social enterprises. Incubators means to give the seed money for these social enterprises, supporting other platforms that strengthen the non-profit ecosystem in fundraising and capacity building. This is one of the most important point again for this social enterprise, because unless there is a fund available, then no social enterprise can take any social activity. So those are the, actually this 900 is so important because for that purpose only this social stock exchange has come into the picture. Otherwise there is no requirement of social stock exchange. The purpose of social stock exchange is to build a platform to raise the funds by such social enterprises for doing these kind of activities. Then 1000, promoting livelihood for rural and urban poor, including enhancing income of small and marginal farmers and workers in the normal farm sector. SAS 1100, slum area development, affordable housing, other interventions. Like we see that a lot of slum area development, like in Mumbai, a lot of these chawls and these other slum areas are being developed into the buildings by the builders itself, because builders are providing them a ready-made structure, and they're also making some profit and keeping part of the area with themselves for other purposes. affordable housing, like under the Prime Minister Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, you get certain incentive for buying houses below the cost of 30 lakh rupees, like that. Okay, so there has been a lot of thing which has been provided there. Disaster management, including relief, rehabilitation, and reconstruction activities.
100, 100, 200, 3.
Pardon?
वो अपनी पहले वाली स्लाइड दिखाना जो 100, 200, 300 वाली थी.
Yes.
Right, sir, right. Thank you.
Okay. So 1300 is about financial inclusion, means closing the funding issues, then facilitating access to land and property assets. 1500 is bridging the digital divide in internet and mobile phone access. I mean, if you look at any of these activities, which is mentioned between 100 to 1600, we can see that a lot of work is going on each of these activities by the government, by the social enterprises, by the NGOs, by the societies, Section 8 companies. A lot of work is going on, and we are happy that we are living in such a country where people would like to give something to the society. Compliance with social audit standards. So these were all from 100 to 1600 were social audit standards, and you have to comply with them. It is a mandatory requirement for social audit conducted for social enterprises listed on social stock exchange. So it is, as of now, it is only mandatory for them which are listed on the social stock exchange. What is social stock exchange? What are the minimum listing requirements that we will discuss. Social auditors should ensure that guidance available in SAS are followed while conducting social audits. And if for any reason a social auditor is not able to perform a social audit in accordance with the SAS, his report should draw attention to the material departures therefrom. And social auditors are expected to follow SAS in the social audits commencing on or after the effective date specified in the SAS. So this will be applicable when it is written in those standards. ICI framework, social audit standards framework, provides guidance for the elements and objectives of a social audit performed by social auditors. It provides a frame of reference for social auditors when performing social audits, responsible party, engaging party, and other stakeholders who are the intended users of social audit report. So responsible party means to whom it has been assigned. Engaging party means that who is spending the money, and other stakeholders basically mean that who are the intended beneficiaries out of this. Okay. Then SAS framework does not itself establish standards or provide a specific requirement for the performance of a specific thematic area, that is poverty, climate change, health, etc. They have not established any established standards for the performance of these areas. This is the format of the social audit report, that it has to be addressed to the addressee, who is that is the engaging party. Then section 1, in that section 1 contacts about the project, responsibilities of the responsible party and the social auditor, conformance of the framework for social audit standards, applicable social audit standards and code of conduct for social auditors issued by the SRO, self-regulatory organization. This we have been reading, SRO. So self-regulatory organization is nothing but an extended arm of our 3 institutes. They will be, monitoring the social auditors, how they are conducting the code of conduct, the reporting system, what they should do, what they should not do. Everything will be done by the SROs. Section 2 covers the scope of social audit, then overall approach and methodology which you are going to use during the social audit, including sampling, data collection and limitations, etc. Then key findings from the audit, including gaps, case studies, etc. Because we have to do a lot of the evidence we have to collect. So these are all your section 3 part, key findings from the audit, including gaps and case studies. Section 4 includes those annexures, the key findings for which the evidence which you have collected, on the basis of which you have made key findings or case studies. All those annexures will be also part of the report. Now, there is an inherent limitation in doing all this exercise. This report in no way should be considered as an opinion, attestation, certification, or other form of assurance. So this is like a disclaimer clause. The procedures performed as part of the social audit do not constitute an examination or a review in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards or attestation standards. This assessment has been undertaken by so-and-so auditor with the registration number allotted by the SR. So this is the format, a sample format of the stock audit, social audit, which can be changed as per the requirement for case-to-case basis. Now, what are the items that are required to be examined in a social audit? So these are the activities which is to be done under a social audit. See, volunteer activity of the employees. So apart from what they are supposed to do, what other activities they are volunteering themselves, what are those activities? Energy use or impact on footprint, work environment including safety, free of harassment and equal opportunity, then workers' pay and benefits, non-discriminatory practices, diversity, accounting and financial transparency, community development and financial contributions, environmental impact resulting from the company's operations, transparency in reporting any issues regarding the effect on the public or environment, and charitable giving. So these are about 11 points, items. This is not a exhaustive list, but this is only a part of that list, that what we should look into. Employees, what are their activities with the energy which we are using and the impact of that. Like many people nowadays is saying that the e-vehicle, about e-vehicle. Now e-vehicle means you will be having a battery, and those batteries will be charged from the electricity. Now we need to understand how it is going to be eco-friendly or not. You have to see from the other side of this theory. First of all, we are developing a battery made of certain lithium or whatever product, which is a non-decayable product. It is not possible, I think, that you can destroy that battery. Secondly, you are using electricity for charging that battery. Now, electricity is coming from where? Do you know that India is producing electricity from thermal powers majorly? More than 50% of the power generated in our country is from the thermal sources. And you know also very well that how thermal is a environment friendly or non-environment friendly product. So we have to think twice before using an e-vehicle, whether it is really environment friendly or not. But yes, if you compare it with the diesel or petrol vehicle and the pollution given by them, it is quite possible that marginally they might be better than the other two source of fuels. So like as a cost accountant, we must do that kind of analysis at the institute level, that how it is beneficial, whether e-vehicles are beneficial to the society at large from the environmental angle or not. Work environment, including safety, the safety standards which we are providing, like in mining industries, the people are trapped from time to time, what safety measures has been taken. So these are the aspects during your social audit that we need to look into. Their pays and benefits, non-discriminatory practices, like there could be a discriminatory practice between men and women itself, or discrimination between two types of workers, temporary workers, permanent workers. There can be a number of categories in which the discrimination could be there. Diversity, accounting and financial transparency, community development, environmental impact, transparency in reporting all these issues, and charitable giving. Now coming to it, this subject, that is social stock exchange. What is social stock exchange? This is a new concept which is taking place in our country. The history of social stock exchange is not very old. It is hardly less than a decade old, in fact. It is a novel social and economic phenomenon. Why we say it is social? Because this is particularly for a specific objective of social activities only. The main purpose is to attract social investors to participate in financing social enterprises. Now, once a social stock exchange happens and the funds are being raised by such social enterprises on the stock exchange, it is not like a equity or debt on which you get certain returns. It is like donation which you are giving to that company. Today you have very limited platforms on which you can donate, and you do not know about the utilization of those funds because you do not have access to that information which is required, whether the funds which you have provided to so and so organization has been used or not. But once a company is listed on the stock exchange, social stock exchange, there are disclosure norms, and you can have a look at it, that how the funds which you have provided are being utilized. Right? So this is the purpose of having this social stock exchange, that to attract these social investors, you and me can be a social investor. We have, as of now, we keep on, somebody approaches her, कि sir, this is a cancer hospital, इसमें 10,000 रुपए दे दीजिए. This is a eye care foundation, या eyes के लिए दे दीजिए. This is a society which takes care of the handicapped people, providing them artificial limbs and all, वहाँ दे दीजिए. You give them money, but you do not know the outcome. You do not know the impact, because once you give the money, you don't know what happened to that money. So that is the purpose of this social stock exchange, that you being a social investor, you also come to know that what is happening to your money. SSE serves as a bridge mediator between a social enterprise that need funding and the investors who are willing to invest their money in a social causes. So I am an investor. It is a social enterprise which is taking a social activity, and social stock exchange is a mediator or a bridge where it bridges the two people for the common purpose, common objective. SSE provides a platform to trade in securities of stock exchanges. So it is a platform to trade in securities of stock exchanges. As I said, that these social enterprises, I mean, not-for-profit companies, cannot issue equity or debentures or any sort of debt instruments. What instruments they will be able to raise, that we will discuss a little bit later. Regulation 91E of SEBI LODR, Regulations 2015, introduced concept of social audit. So under the 91E of SEBI LODR regulations, they introduced this concept of the social audit. Now, what is a social stock exchange? It means a separate segment of a recognized stock exchange having nationwide trade terminals permitted to register, especially for NPOs, not for profit organizations, and to list their securities in accordance with the provisions of the SEBI regulations. Like NSE or BSE, they will be like, there are two types of platform even now. One is for the normal other than MSME units, and one is only for SME units. Then there is a separate platform for commodity section, right? There is a separate platform for currencies. So similarly for this also, there will be a separate window on these stock exchanges only to trade in social stock exchange. The social stock exchange is a platform which shall allow social enterprises, be it not for profit organization or for profit social enterprises also, to raise funds. So it is not restricted to NPOs only. Any other company for profit social enterprises can also raise funds. Although there are certain restrictions that who can be a FPSE, that we will discuss a little later. NPOs may choose to merely register with SSE and not raise funds. Okay. It is not necessary that you have to raise the funds. Then only you have to get yourself listed. You can otherwise also get yourself listed without raising the funds. The NPOs, who are the NPOs? A non-profit organization will be, who is the NPO? This includes a trust, a society, a NGO, or a Section 8 company, which is registered under the Companies Act. Okay, so there are two drafts, one before and after, then a society under the Society Registration Act, then there are certain NGOs or the Section 8 companies. They are all NPOs, non-profit organizations. For profit social enterprises includes corporates and can be any company under the Companies Act. However, only such corporates whose social intent must be the first and primary objective of all social enterprises that plan to list their securities on the stock exchange. So their intent, social intent, whether it is there or not, then only they will be eligible to be listed on the social stock enterprises. Now, who are the stakeholders of stock exchange? Social stock exchange. Trading members, like on any stock exchange, we have trading members. Then NPOs and FPIs, which we have just taught. Market infrastructure institutions, like institutions, financial institutions, and other things. Social auditors, information repositories, like under the IPA, we have the information utilities. Same is the information repositories. Then regulators and investors. Regulators is SRO under the SEBI, and investors as a investor like me or anybody else. Eligibility requirements is a social stock exchange for the social stock exchange listing. What are the eligibility requirements that we need to see? Establish the primacy intent of social impact. This is the most important thing. So we have to first see whether their objective is out of those 16 SDGs or not. If it is, then only they will be considered as a social enterprise. Otherwise, they will not be able to participate in this. As per the 17 social development goals, we saw only 16. 17th is any other goal which can be decided by the board later on. So that is why it is written as 17. So to list themselves, first of all, their intent of social impact. What is their primary goal? That we have to see. Then they must focus on underserved or underprivileged populations or geographical locations. that have recorded lower performance. Like government is coming out with various locations where they have given tax benefits, like earlier Baddi or in the Rudrapur, like that. There have been a lot of places across the country where the government has called them as backward areas in which they have been given financial benefits. Then revenue. Now the requirement means quantified requirements. So this was the from the goal angle. Now the quantifying angle is that last 3 years average revenues, at least 67% of that revenue should be from these targeted activities. Targeted activities means these social activities which are listed as per that. There could be some other social activity also, which is not falling into these 16 activities. But to list yourself, either you must fall into these activities, and once you are falling into these 16 activities, then 67% of those activities should be from these activities only. Similarly, for the expenditure, the amount you are expending, 67% of the fund should be used for such activities. And one more condition, these are all cumulative conditions. It is not either or. Customer base beneficiaries means the targeted beneficiaries. So who are the targeted beneficiaries? They should also comprise of 67%. So these are three requirements from listing angle as far as this 67% is required, plus their intent. It should be a targeted activity out of those 16 only. Now we were discussing earlier that which instrument can be listed on the social stock exchange. Now the company which are getting listed will be a NPO, okay, not for profit organization, because zero coupon, zero principal instrument. Now what do you mean by zero coupon, zero principal? Coupon means rate of interest. Zero means there is no rate of interest. Zero principal means when you put in some money, there is a value, say 1 crore rupees, but payback is zero. You are not going to pay back that principal. So that is why it is considered as zero coupon, zero principal instruments. So zero coupon, zero principal instrument shall be issued only by a not-for-profit organization registered on a social stock exchange and shall have a specific tenure. Zero coupon and zero principal instrument shall be issued without any coupon, and no principal amount shall be payable on its maturity. तो जब भी हम कोई भी अगर हम जीरो प्रिंसिपल जीरो कूपन इंस्ट्रूमेंट इशू करेंगे, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल इट इज फॉर ए पर्टिकुलर प्रोजेक्ट, देन इट विल बी देयर विल बी ए स्पेसिफिक टेन्योर दैट मेरे को ये पॉवर्टी के ऊपर में ये प्रोजेक्ट करना है और इस प्रोजेक्ट को मेरे ये 5 साल के अंदर पूरा करना है. फिर 5 साल के अंदर में मेरे को ये क्वार्टरली डिस्क्लोजर करना पड़ेगा कि मैंने 25 करोड़ रुपया इकट्ठा किया था, 25 में से मेरा फर्स्ट क्वार्टर में कितना यूज हुआ, कितना बच गया, फिर अगले क्वार्टर तक कितना यूज हुआ, कितना बच गया. तो 5 साल तक मेरे को वो करते रहना है, या उससे पहले अगर खत्म हो गया तो पहले वो तक उसका, जब तक वो फंड खत्म नहीं हो जाएगा, द फंड विच यू हैव रेज्ड, if it is not finished till then, it is going to be there. Now what are the conditions for issuance of zero coupon, zero principal instruments? Like in equity market or venture market, there are certain conditions. Similarly, there are certain conditions here also. So zero coupon, zero principal instrument shall be issued in demat form only. Number one, it is only demat, no physical certificate. Number two, minimum issue size will be not less than 1 crore rupees. Okay, 1 crore से कम का issue size नहीं होगा. One application will not be less than 2 lakh rupees. So minimum application size will be 2 lakhs. Minimum subscription means when you that like on equities public issues, we see that minimum subscription is 90%. Here it is 75%. So it is 75% of the funds proposed to be raised through this. So अगर 75% suppose मुझे 100 करोड़ raise करना है या 1 करोड़ raise करना है, issue size is 1 crore, तो 1 करोड़ के अगर 75 लाख रुपए अगर मेरे पास नहीं आया, if it is under subscribed less than 75%, the issue has to be returned back. सारा पैसा वापस देना पड़ेगा. अगर मेरे पास 75% आ गया बट 100% नहीं आया, उसका भी एक हमें डिटेल देना है. That manner of raising balance capital in case of under subscription, because you need 1 crore rupees, you got only 75 lakhs. Your project requirement is 1 crore. So how to meet the gap? How you are going to raise those 25 lakhs balance? That is also required to be mentioned. Then possible impact in achieving the social program in case such other under subscription is not. अब वो 25 लाख अगर नहीं आया तो उसका इम्पैक्ट क्या आएगा प्रोजेक्ट के ऊपर में, हमें वो भी बताना है. और अगर 75% भी नहीं आया तो पैसा वापस कर देना. So these are the things basically to monitor the funds for which it is being raised. ये चैप्टर 10A जो है उसमें इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया सेबी के कैपिटल एंड डिस्क्लोजर रिक्वायरमेंट्स में, रेगुलेशंस में, under which all these requirements with respect to the social audit has been inserted. A not-for-profit organization seeking to only get registered with a social stock exchange. ठीक है, NPO ही को ही रजिस्टर करवाना है अपने सोशल स्टॉक एक्सचेंज में. सोशल एंटरप्राइज फॉर प्रॉफिट कंपनी इट विल नॉट बी लिस्टेड ऑन सोशल स्टॉक एक्सचेंज unless they are identified. Not for profit organization seeking to get registered and raise funds through a social stock exchange. तो अगर फंड करना है या नहीं करना है, नहीं करना है तब भी रजिस्टर करा सकते हो, करना है फंड रेज तो भी करा सकते हो. And for profit social enterprise seeking to be identified as a social enterprise under the provisions of this chapter. So if a social enterprise is meeting those requirements of 67% and other things, the intent, then it can be listed on the social stock exchange. Access to social stock exchange. A social stock exchange shall be accessible only to the institutional investors and non-institutional investors, provided that the board may permit other class of investors as it deems fit for the purpose of accessing social stock exchange. तो यहाँ पे भी क्वेश्चन आ जाता है कि भाई कौन कौन इसको यूज कर सकते हैं. Institutional investor, no investors. Social stock exchange governing council. Now there is a governing council. It should have 7 members from diverse fields. Like one should be a social auditor, one from the stock exchange, one from the investors, one from the non-financial investors, one from the government, MCA. Like that, they have identified in that circular that who can be the governing part of the governing council. The composition in terms of reference to क्या काम करेंगे क्या नहीं करेंगे, everything is mentioned in that circular. Like quarterly meeting उनकी होगी, क्या उसका quorum होगा, वो सब उसके अंदर में governing council के regulations में mention होगा. Now we should quickly go through this slide that what is the difference between the financial and social audit, because we have been knowing financial audit for a long time and social audit is coming up now. So we must try to differentiate between what is a financial audit and a social audit. Perspective has financial perspective only. It is multi-perspective. Financial audit is related to only financial purpose. Whereas social audit may, it is a multi-perspective. We are going beyond the financials. In fact, when you are doing social audit, you do not consider financials at all. You are not supposed to look into the financial audit aspects. You can have a look at those figures, but you are not supposed to do the social audit of those financial figures. Stakeholders doesn't consider the larger ecosystem of stakeholders. It concentrates only on shareholders. तो हमें shareholders को क्या देना है? Those are the only thing. Here, societal ecosystem is important. All stakeholders are important, including the shareholders, funders, financiers. सबका इसमें रोल है. Eligibility, chartered accountant only. Here, any as per the eligibility criteria we have seen anybody can be eligible for this, becoming a social auditor. Methods, here in financial audit, you have the standardized methods. In social auditors, methods will vary as per the project and trust area of the organization. Comparative, comparison with the firm to be audited and auditee within the organization plus other external standards and other comparative. So we have to compare with the other people in social audits. Impact, only social financial performance is the metric in impact. कि भाई मेरा कितना प्रॉफिट आया रुपया, मुझे तो क्वांटिटी टर्म्स में चाहिए कि भाई 1 करोड़ 2 करोड़ 2.5 करोड़ जो भी आया मेरा, दैट इज माय financial impact. Under social impact audit, impact is different, that how much the benefit it has come to the society, how much benefit it has come to the country, how much benefit it has come to the particular class of people who have been benefited from the social activity. However, there are certain limitations of a social audit. Time and organization efforts are required to be set up as per the social accounting systems. Cost of resources like interviewers and social auditors, because it needs a lot of outside interviews, so it involves a cost. Cost is always a factor under the social activity systems. Unless embedded in the organizational culture, there is a danger of it becoming a one-off paper exercise. तो क्या होता है कि जब भी पैसा नहीं है तो अपन क्या करेंगे, एक पेपर पे अपना रिपोर्ट बनाया और उसको दे दिया, it will become a paper exercise. Achieving recognition by stakeholders of the worth of the social audit. तो जब तक वो stakeholders उसको recognition नहीं देंगे social audit की रिपोर्ट को, तब तक उसको कोई फायदा नहीं है. Identification of and obtaining views and opinions of non-stakeholders could also be a potential stakeholder. Today he may be not a stakeholder, but tomorrow he could be a stakeholders. Exclusion of potential participants if the method is formed is complicated and confusing through the involvement of executives. The lack of standards for the social audit process and recognized qualifications for social may damage the credibility of the method. Perception of organization manipulating or hijacking stakeholders' views, and it may be highly complicated and time consuming for the users. So these are all certain challenges, or you can say challenges or limitations while conducting a social audit. So I think this is all about my presentation about the social audit, social stock exchange, purpose, objectives, examination, how to become a social auditor. I have given you a very broad idea about it. It is not exactly from the examination perspective. The institute is organizing a 20-hour course, which will be sufficient for you to prepare for it, or otherwise also you can do it yourself by reading that particular book which has been provided by the NISM. So now the house is open for the questions.
Sir, exam result will be immediately announced.
Immediately, as soon as you push the submit button, the result is on your screen.
Okay.
Sir, I have referred the website of NISM and it says that the examination certificate will be valid for 3 years.
This 3 years requirement is basically, I think, from the angle of registration as a social auditor. Under the RV also, if you don't register yourself within 3 years, like suppose you are working today and you intend to become a practitioner after some time. But if you don't become a practitioner within those 3 years, then you might have to appear it again. Otherwise, there is no requirement of appearing again.
Again, okay, right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, how much a social auditor can charge as his professional fee?
That will depend upon the type of audit. Like for any financial audit or for any cost audit, it depends upon the size of the unit, size of the products, the turnover of that company. There are so many factors which will decide the amount of fee to be charged from that company.
Sir, 2019, yes. I have qualified as a cost accountant. From the date of qualification, I became a practicing cost accountant. Is I am eligible to appear an exam? Which means I will write an exam. If I clear the sense, after 3 years, I can get a registration from NSM.
I think so, because I don't know whether you will be eligible to appear for the examination, because the basic eligibility criteria is 6 years experience.
Okay.
So I don't think that you will be able to appear for the examination.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Are there any negative marking, sir?
0.25% of every wrong answer.
Okay.
Sir, I think
Sir,
for
how can we
professionals,
get that soft copy of the book, sir?
Soft copy will be available on various, once you register yourself, you will get a link immediately. Otherwise, this is circulated in various groups, and I can also give you the link to that.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
sir, for professionals, I think the experience required is 3 years. Can
As
you
per
check it up?
I think it is 6 years as per the booklet which we have.
Okay, okay, okay.
Although I agree with you that it should not be more than 3 years, because for postgraduate it is 3 years, then why the professional qualification should have experience of 6 years?
Yes, 6 years for undergrad for graduates, for 3 years for postgraduates.
So they are
And
treating
for
us
professionals,
they are treating us as graduates.
yeah.
There should be some anomaly. Otherwise, I think we can take it up with the institute that it should be reduced to 3 years.
Sir, to conduct the audit, there is an eligibility of that it should be a firm. So, firm which we usually know is, a marriage between, some partners, maybe more than one person. So, could it be a proprietorship firm also?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, single person can also form a firm and then, be eligible.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sir, like a RV, we can access from the IBBI portal that how many RVs are there in the system. Is there any method how we can judge how many social auditors have qualified as of now?
Because there is no central agency in this case. There will be 3 SROs like cost auditors, company secretaries, and chartered accountants. Each one of them will be registering themselves. So number of social auditors might be available on the website of all the 3 SROs, but there is no central agency as of now.
We have to sum up all the 3 agencies SR.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Only ICMI or SRO has been established as of now, sir.
Yeah, they have started for registration. The other 2 are in the process.
Sir, can you give the link of the book now?
See, link will not be there. I can give you the copy. What you can do is you can note down my number. Either you can send me a WhatsApp or you can mail me. I will send you the copy of the book.
Okay, sir, give me the number.
Number is there on the screen. 98100 30521, and the mail ID is also Resham ykgupta64@yahoo.co.in. You can message me or you can mail me. I will send you the copy of the book.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Sir, corporates which are doing CSR through NGO or directly is also required to get social audit done?
Yeah, only those companies which are doing this 5 crores for the last 3 years, they are also required.
Thank you.
Course material is available over the website of SAO. I have also shared the link.
सर नमस्ते सर, कोई ऐसा आइडिया होगा कि अभी तक कितनी कंपनियां इसके अंदर एलिजिबल होंगी 5 करोड़ वाले पॉइंट से?
No, you see, it is not only those companies which is going to be covered. There are lakhs of NGOs and societies and Section 8 companies. There are lakhs of like that. Lakhs. I'm not saying thousands. So all those will be covered if they want to raise the funds through this social stock exchange.
Okay.
Because you see, being an investor, how will I approach them? And for them also, how will they approach the people at large? So for them also, there is a facility, which is a facilitator will be the social stock exchange, which can facilitate them to raise funds for their objectives. So there will be thousands and thousands of the organizations which I can foresee.
Mr. Gupta, I have two more questions. Like the purpose of the SRO is like supposed to have the empanelments. I mean, like, if I am a practicing member and I have registered myself with the SRO, then only will I get the social audit, or is it only to have a database of people who have passed the SRO and the social audit examination?
See, sir, social audit will be given by those NPOs or social enterprises, right?
Right, sir.
For becoming a social auditor, you have to be empaneled with the SROs. So that is a basic requirement to be empaneled with SROs. And after that, like you approach through your network, the work for cost audit or the financial audit. Similarly, for social audits, you have to scout for that.
Okay. And so basically, I just need to be empaneled with one of the three SROs of the three institutions.
Yes, 100%.
So I mean, sir, like actually, this doubt was arising because I am both a cost accountant and a chartered accountant, and so I was wondering that I need to be registered with both the SROs or
any one of them.
any
Even
one
like graduates or postgraduates, they do not have any of these three institutions. So like under IPA, or unlike insolvency professionals or the registered valuers, each one of is free to approach any of the SROs, irrespective whether they are qualified CS or CWA or CA.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So for the empanelment with, for example, SRO, CMA, so one has to approach the institute, or one has to, go through the NISM website.
SRO, for what? For what purpose? Empanelment.
Yeah, for empanelment with the, for example, CMA, SRO.
You have to approach the SRO only.
Okay, so
Not
that would be through NISM.
No, directly to the SRO. NISM is only conducting the examination, who will give you a passing certificate.
Okay.
After that, with that certificate, you go to the SRO and get yourself registered along with the other data which the SRO will be asking for.
Okay, so there will be a separate website for SRO.
Correct.
Okay, so you can go and empanel there on the website.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sir, I have one question, sir.
Ji.
Sir, suppose one cost accountant qualified the exam today. Our institute has not set up any SRO till date. So what is our
CM
option?
Institute has already set up.
Yes, set up, no?
In fact, all three of us, all the three institutions have already set up the SRO. And our SRO, CMA SRO has already started for registration or empanelment, you can say.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
You can submit, if you have already qualified, you can submit your papers with the SRO or CMI.
So all the eligibility requirements and everything for empanelment would be given there itself, right?
Yes.
Would be mentioned there itself.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir, will the amount
Yes.
invested in NPO social enterprises will be considered for CSR activity?
Can you repeat your question, please?
Will the amount invested in NPO social enterprises will be considered for CSR activity?
Yes, it will be.
It will be considered.
That is the purpose that even the CSR funds can be deployed during this raising of funds by the social enterprises. Somebody was asking in a window that the fees is how much. So as far as my information is concerned with the CMA SRO, it is 3,000 for admission and 5,000 is the annual fee charges. The others have yet to mention, they have yet to announce. So whosoever has put on the chat, I'm not looking at the chat. Can you repeat your questions here?
Sir, I have dropped an email for soft copy of the book, sir.
I will send, don't worry.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We will share the PPT also.
सर सोशल
नंदा जी
ऑडिट
आपको नंदा जी आपको ऑफिस आना पड़ेगा आप मेरे को ये सारा मटेरियल लेने के लिए। हाँ जी।
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
To become a social auditor, it is required 3 years experience for CMAs also.
Can you come again, please?
To become a social auditor,
Uh,
for examination purpose, I am asking. CMA also required 3 years experience.
6 years.
6 years experience.
Yes.
Okay.
As of now.
So just an add-on, the experience, I'm not sure if it is there because it is mentioned in the book, but the social audit organization is not mentioning anything. They have circulated a mail wherein a practicing person, professional chartered accountant, cost accountant or CS can get registered without any experience. They have also mentioned that on their website, and they have developed a very good website with all informations and an e-library which can help further.
I will confirm it back later on because whatever material was available with me on that basis, it was written as 6 years. Because this book is released by the NISM, so I was relying on this.
Yeah, but I had a word with Dr. Gupta as well on this.
Okay.
Yeah,
so he has confirmed. There is no requirement of any experience for the professionals.
Circulated a mail related to that. I have already submitted the application for registration with the SEO.
Okay. So you mean to say that there is no requirement of any experience for the professionals?
This is as per their communication and over the website, because there is no supporting document related to this 6 years experience except for the NISM booklet.
Fine. I mean, I am relying on this book, and let me check up with Mr. Gupta also.
Actually, this was this is having some confusion because the graduates are also considered for 6 years experience, and even the professionals are also asked for 6 years experience.
So that is what we discussed in between our presentation, that when somebody asked that 6 years, when a postgraduate is being asked for 6 years, a professional should not be asked for 6 years. So either it should be 3 years or it should not be having an experience. But according to it should not be more than 3 years.
It was circulated.
At least 3 years experience should have been there.
You can share the website. They have also mentioned this. The SEO is already mentioning this, that the professionals.
No, that is fine because once we have already talked to him and it's mentioned on the website, then it is confirmed and we can, correct ourselves that there is no requirement of experience for the professionals.
Yeah, and ICDR is silent on this. They just want that the certification should be valid and the person should be registered with the SEO.
Quite possible, because you see, before you are preparing for the examination, registering yourself for the examination, if the NISM is asking for some experience, then you might get stuck over there.
No, this is not for before the examination, sir. This is required before getting the registration with the SEO. Any person can go for the examinations irrespective of what qualifications, because they are not fetching any document related to this. After clearing the examination, when you are going for the empanelment or registration with the SEO, they will be demanding experience certificates, and it will be cross-verified by them with the concerned agencies.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the information.
Mr. Keshwana, this
also
website you're talking about is which website? This is the CMA website?
SRO CMA.
SRO CMA. Okay, thank you.
SAO, they have named it as Social Audit Organization. SAO ICMI.in, sir.
Okay. SC. Can you please mention it on
Social
the
Audit Organization.
Social Audit Organization.
SAOICMAI.in.
Okay, thank you.
So shall we close here? Any other question?
Thank you for the excellent session, sir.
Sir, good
We have a
evening.
lot of knowledge.
Thank
We
you,
have
sir.
dropped a lot of knowledge from you.
Sir,
Sir,
good
good
evening.
wishes for your examinations.
Sir, what is the
I am actually, I was
number of
preparing for my exam. I have not yet appeared. So it helped me in my preparation as well.
Best wishes, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, good evening.
Thank you very much, Yogesh. Thank you very much.
When
Thank
your
you,
exam
Shamsherji.
is scheduled, sir?
Thank you very much, Manishji.
I am appearing on Sunday, coming Sunday.
Yogeji, thank you very much. It was a very nice
Best of luck, sir.
presentation and detailed one. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Thank you, Shamsherji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for a useful and knowledgeable session.
Thanks, everyone.
All the best, Yogesh.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Yogesh ji.
Thank you, boss. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All the best to
Sir,
you.
one question.
Thanks a
Yes,
lot.
yes.
Sir,
Go away.
we are the IP.
Go away.
Hello.
हाँ जी बोलिए.
Sir, आ रही है आवाज?
हाँ जी.
Sir, this seminar is organized by this ICMA, and we are the IPs. So, will we get the CP hours for today?
Not for IPs.
Not.
It is not organized by IP. It is organized by NIRC of ICMAI.
Okay. Right.
So
If
for
you're a member of
hours,
CMA,
being a CMA member, you will get 1 CP hour.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
So shall we close now?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
And
you,
very good
everyone.
evening.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
listening to me, for participating in this webinar and enriching your knowledge as well as my knowledge. It has been a wonderful interactive session, which is a new topic, and I hope that in the new times to come, we will be passing our examination very soon. I would appeal each one of you to take a date before 31st March, and I am quite hopeful that all of you can clear this examination. You need to study only this examination booklet given by the NISM. It is a study of about 8 to 12 hours, and I think that is more than enough for the time being. Tomorrow, what will happen, we don't know.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thanks to all. Thanks to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's 216-page booklet. And it
Yes,
can be
that's
read
right.
in 10 days time. That's right.
No, sir, you can read it in 10 hours.
Right, sir, right.
Sir, expecting more
Because
session
it
from
is,
you.
many things are there, which is, being a professional, we have so much of experience. So with that experience, our speed is very high in reading that booklet.
True, absolutely right, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay,
Thank you, sir. Thank
expecting
you.
more session from your side, sir.
Anytime, as far as the NIRC permits me. Otherwise, we can send a link on our own and we can have more programs. Once I get through, I think we will be able to take some sessions on the examinations also. Let us see what happens next.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thanks to everyone.
Good.